Well, I've got to spend a little bit of time now with the Evercade Alpha, the Evercade bartop arcade, and I'm very impressed with it. Send Kelly a bunch of pictures so he can pop them in here. I just wanted to get to kind of, I feel like we've talked about this before. Everybody knows what it is. Everybody knows why I'm getting it or I got it. For me, it checked a lot of boxes. Run out of room in the game room, so I need to be a little bit more picky. Bar top frees up a lot of space, but still keeps with that kind of arcade feel of it. I've wanted a Street Fighter cabinet. I haven't loved the cabinets that have been out, either because the artwork is terrible or the game selection isn't quite there. What I want it to be, this has a really solid selection of games, and it uses Evercade cartridges, which I have a bunch of. So I'm already in that ecosystem. So everything about this really just kind of clicked for me. So now I have it. I've spent a little bit of time with it. Here's my sort of pros and cons on it. The first thing that I really like about it is it's bigger than the other bar tops that have been coming out, like from Arcade One Up and stuff like that. Those are fine. I've seen those. This is bigger. This feels more like a bar top arcade cabinet that you would see in a bar, as opposed to I feel like the Arcade One Ups are a little smaller than that.
Do you know the socialist inspired diagonal measurement on the monitor? Do you know is that a 17-inch diagonal monitor?
Off the top of my head, I don't, but I'm sure we could look that up and then act
Oh,
like we
that's
knew
how there it is right there. That's how
it.
that's and remember that's diagonal, which is of no use to you.
It is about 2 feet tall, so it doesn't fit in. Originally, I was going to put it on a shelf that I have in the room there. It is too big for that. It's also heavy. It is wood, like it's all wood panels. It's not the compressed cardboard that you would expect it to be. So it does have like real weight to it, which brings me to the first complaint I've seen in a couple of videos about it that boggles my mind. I've seen a couple of people complain that this is not portable. Right.
It's no Game and Watch.
Yeah, this is correct. This is not portable. This is not meant to be a portable. They're like, what am I? How is this supposed to fit on my lap? How is this supposed to? You're meant to, it's a bar top arcade cabinet. You're meant to sit it on a bar or shelf or something along those lines. And because it's made out of wood, not only does it have a nice size to it, but because it's made out of wood, it's got some weight to it too, which in my mind is kind of what you want, especially for something like this. If you're playing on the control deck that's on there, you don't want this thing sliding around or falling off if somebody bumps the bar or something like that. You want something with some weight to it. So it's going to stay in place. And for me, this is perfect for that. It towers over the kind of mini arcades that have been coming out. I included a picture of the mini Neo Geo just to kind of give you an idea of it. It barely comes up to the control deck that's on there. I mean, this is a good size. Now it is one player, but it has two controller ports. So you can hook USB controllers up to it, not just for a second player, but if you don't want somebody kind of hovering over your shoulder and you want to have a comfortable gameplay, you can both use controllers and just use this as kind of a monitor that you can kind of take a step back from. So there's a lot of great functionality, and of course over 500 games for it because it's expandable with the cartridges, and it has two cartridge ports, so you can load multiple games at a time. And it has the six built-in Street Fighter games with it. So I mean, the game selection is excellent. It's really cool too to play some games that weren't intended or were never released as arcade games. To kind of play those on this arcade setting is pretty neat as well. So like Amiga games in the Amiga collection and things like that I'm now able to play on this kind of arcade environment. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean that'd be interesting to think about is that what Amiga game would the entertainment value be improved or the experience be improved if you're using more of the arcade console deck kind of thing with the kind of firmer controls and all that. Be to think about that a little bit. Indianapolis 500 comes to mind. I think that would be That would be a good one. I kind of wipe that crew out at the beginning, but I have to think about that a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, there's so much good about this in terms of with that combination of Evercade cartridges and a substantial bar top. Sorry, it's not portable. Guess you could put casters on it if you wanted to wheel it around the house. But
And I
um,
don't understand. Like, I get it that Evercade makes handhelds
right.
mostly, but this isn't.
Yeah, that confusion should have ended when the word bar top appeared.
Yeah,
It's like I could understand. Oh, Evercade's got an alpha. That must be some new portable game console type of thing. But they even the Versus isn't portable.
right. They have an actual console in the verses.
So hmm, I don't know. If you happen to be one of those insane people that are disappointed that the alpha's not portable, straighten us out in the comments. Let us know why, because
Yeah.
we're at a loss.
Now, I will say I have one complaint about it, and it's not portable. No, it's and every review has pointed this out, and I agree with this. So when Arcade One Up first came out, the control deck area had no sort of protector on there, no coating, no plastic, nothing. So what was happening is as people were using it, they were starting to kind of wear away the artwork on there. This doesn't have any sort of protective cover over it, like the arcade one-ups do. Now, I don't think wearing it off is going to be something that would happen anytime soon because it's relatively small. It's a bar top. So your hands are kind of up on top of it. You're not resting your wrists on it the way you are with an arcade cabinet or putting the side of your hand next to the joystick or anything like that. There's just not enough room to do that. But I could see over time it getting scratching and wearing and stuff like that. Eventually, sure, that will happen. So that's a genuine complaint that I have about it. That being said, I'm sure third party options will be available very soon for it. People make that kind of stuff all the time. I'm sure there's tons of ways to correct this issue. And again, it's not something that's going to happen anytime soon just because of the nature of the size of it. You're not resting your hands on it the way you are a full sized arcade.
Yeah, and I'm sure a third party will figure it out quicker and better than I would. But I just immediately just started to talk about it. There are um, tons of options in terms of acrylic and plexiglass that are actually very thin, also that you could put on there, and it would really not even add anything really to the depth of the deck. Obviously, a vinyl printed version with still the same, or even custom graphics. Although I assume you'd want to kind of keep the Street Fighter information that's on the deck. You'd want to kind of maintain that. So either make it clear so you can see it, or you do a decal that basically repeats, and then you could do that. But I kind of the more I think about it, the acrylic or the plexi would be a good way to go because then it'd be easy enough to attach. So, but somebody will figure out the right solution, the right material, and have that out at some point in time. So that'll be good. But yeah, I think it's an outstanding idea to to open those doors. Like, well, I'm gonna play some Amiga games using arcade controls. Very cool.
Yeah, the arcade form factor for games that weren't intended that way is something that I actually so it was actually the Ek games, my Ek games mini, my Legends mini that kind of introduced me to that idea because that included not only some console games, but it included Zero Tolerance, which is a first person shooter game that I'm a big fan of. Playing that with arcade controls was actually a lot of fun. So I was like, oh, I wonder, what other games could be cool to kind of, and this gives you an opportunity to kind of play with different things. And of course, you can always use a USB controller on it. So you don't have to use the arcade controls, but playing things like Duke Nukem that way is a lot of fun, for example.
Yeah, cool. So you I think our skip it listed buy it on this was a buy it for you.
Yes.
List it was a listed for me. It's been listed. So we'll see. I do have a bar top. One side of the bar top is the
It's not
home.
portable, just to give you.
Uh, why didn't you say that? a non-portable bar top. They should really clarify that to go on. But that's it. So, are you gonna, now that you've got this as a model, are you gonna work to develop a Atari 2600 bar top or
Well, I have the Atari collections already, the cartridges.
yeah.
So I mean, I can already play a lot of that stuff bar top style, including Ninja Golf.
Yeah. Yeah, that's better than the other Atari game you bring up a lot, which is the one I'd figure if you were building a bar top. And I'd love to see the artwork on that. But
Well, once we have our first annual beat off,
I'm so glad I edit these videos. And then
I've
when I,
also thought of the perfect trophy. Instead of a traditional trophy, a wrestling belt.
well, I'll leave that to you to continue to live
Beat
in your
off champion.
your fantasy world where that's going to happen. But we'll see how it goes. Um, cool. So on that uplifting note, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I highly recommend this. If you have if you were thinking about a bar top or thinking about getting into the whole Evercade ecosystem, it's a great way to do it. It frees up space as far as if you have a bunch of consoles like I have, and you don't want to get the verses or you're not sure about a handheld. It'll get you into that ecosystem, which includes over 500 games now. And they also have larger capacity cartridges now. They've started putting CD-ROM games on there. So for example, I have the Tomb Raider collection on an Evercade cartridge. So it's the first three Tomb Raider games, which are all CD-ROM games on a cartridge that I can now play arcade style.
Excellent.
Bog Panda.